everybody. Welcome to a live episode, the return of the College Football Tailgate. As always, it is me, XFL Jim, the one and only. I am joined by Chase, Lupine Fiasco Sessoms, a.k.a. the Wolf of Oaklawn on Twitter. My man. And, of course, the incomparable, the immeasurable, the illuminating, it is Uncle Rico, a.k.a. Erik.
You want it? I'm going to give it to you right now.
Oh, it just juices me up. You guys feeling it?
I can't believe we're talking college football right now, man.
It's great.
Like it's a great time of year. It's definitely going to be a little bit different, REP, Pac-12, different playoff system. But I really feel that no matter what happens, the MAC will always be here. I
was going to say, Erik, not only are we talking college football, we're talking maybe my close to home favorite conference. Because no matter what changes in college football, the MAC remains the same. And I get that they're adding UMass next year. But that's okay. Because the core of the MAC is still there.
Jim, I grew up in the shadows of Kelly Short Stadium.
It's a beautiful conference. I also just want to mention, I might need you guys to talk me out of buying a PlayStation 5 because I've just been reading and watching stuff about the college football game. I might spend $500 and then another $80 just to get the game.
No, I insist you buy the console, buy the game, and then create me as a player.
Well, I would create all of us as players.
Oh, of course.
What position would you be, Chase?
Fullback.
Fullback for Chase. Erik, what's your position?
I would want to be the left tackle.
Left tackle. Christian obviously would be the quarterback, right?
I think he'd be the kicker.
Kicker would be
the
good.
Punter. The punter. He'd be
a good punter. I have some notes on the conference of the MAC as a whole before we just get into the team previews. But before that, I showed Chase the new clip that I had on the gymnasium. Erik, I wanted your take on this one.
Oh, Jim, I love you, man.
Quick take.
So you know what? You never cease to amaze me, man. You are one of the most talented mother effers I know of.
Oh, don't suck my dick this early, Erik. It's not that time yet. I appreciate it.
Well, this got weird. I'll see you guys later.
It always gets weird, Chase. A couple things for the MAC before we get into these team previews. So they're not doing divisions this year. They got away from the divisions. They're doing pods. I'm cool with it. So now it's not which East and West team. It's a little bit more fucky trying to figure out who's going to be
you say
in
funky
the conference. Fucky. It's a little weirder trying to figure out who's going to be in the conference championship game. I feel like just most conferences are going away from divisions,
which I think is great because there's always okay with it. One division that is good, another division that is dog shit, and yeah, I like it. I think that's the right play in the long term and everything.
What do we think about them adding UMass next year?
Is what it is. Helps their basketball.
I think it
gives Buffalo a regional rival too.
I was gonna say it kind of works with the having Buffalo in there. I'm okay with it. And then my last takeaway was looking at all these teams and all the conference futures. It looks like this year, at least the books, have the MAC split up into three distinctive tiers in my mind. They have your four, maybe five, sort of. They have your two obvious favorites, then your sort of four middle ones, and then a bunch of the bottom tier teams.
Yeah.
You boys ready to get into these? We're going alphabetical. We're starting with Erik. You're ready? Okay. We're starting with the Akron Zips. The Akron Zips win total is set. I got all these numbers off of DraftKings, by the way. The win total for the Akron Zips is set at 3.5, plus 100 on the over, minus 125 on the under. They are plus 7,000 to win the MAC this year, boys. Plus 7,000.
Yikes.
I mean, Ben Finley is their QB1. He's been at Jim's favorite school, Cal Bears. He's been at NC State. But he's not a running threat, which is going to be different from what the last couple seasons. They added Simmons from Michigan State, Williams from Minnesota. Huge upgrade in the run game. The key here is a passing game. To have Adams return, at us three talk about all the time. You have to have that chain mover, someone that can move the chains, a dependable wide receiver. They have him back, but he was hurt last year. So what Adams are we going to get? Are we going to get the Adams from 2 years ago? Or we're going to get a hobbled Adams. I worry about the offensive line as they are returning 5 who have started but weren't starters last season. So they're bringing in 5 transfers from different schools to start. And I hate to be a negative Nancy, but let's face it, if you're transferring to Akron, did you really have any other options to transfer to? Probably take a huge step backwards. And that's going to be tough to do because guess where they were in rushing last year in the MAC conference, boys?
They're pretty bad.
They were last.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Dead last. Defensive line, 3 guys over 3 bills and are returning their top guy who is all conference MAC. D-line is going to be the strength of the MAC. Arguably could be a top 3 defensive line. Linebackers are just as good as on front. However, back 4, bringing in 3 transfers. And again, I don't mean to be a negative Nancy.
Awful.
If you are transferring to Akron, how really was your market? They had a better offensive line. I think they'd be an intriguing dark horse, but with how bad this offensive line is, it's a team I don't want to get involved in. I'll look to bet their unders though early on in the season.
I can't get behind this team with the defensive backfield they had. They were awful at defending the pass last year. I don't expect that to improve. And in my opinion, even if Akron is better, decently better than they were last year, I don't think it matters because looking over the schedule is so tough. They have such a tough damn schedule. I don't care how good they are. I don't care that they were 2-7 in 1-score games last year, and some people would look for regression. I can't see it with the schedule in front of me. Chase, I think you're muted.
Chase.
Somehow.
Sorry, my dog was barking earlier. I can't see it with having 3 offensive starters coming back. It's just I don't see a whole lot of points. I'm with Erik. I agree. It seems like a good time to probably take unders early in the season.
Also, I told Chase before the show, but Erik, I'm switching up my dealio. I will be placing a real wager on every single win total for every single college football team.
Oh my god!
So it's happening. We're back. We're back
to. You mentioned this schedule at Ohio State, at Rutgers, hosting Colgate,
and then at South Carolina.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
That is brutal.
I mean, at least you get them all out of the way early. But a constant theme I see with these MAC teams is they set these win totals. Where are they going to get the wins? They have to get them in conference. But the parity in the MAC is so good. So many of these in-conference games are losses or at best coin flips that I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
So they go through that stretch, and then after the South Carolina, it's a back-to-back at Ohio, and then Bowling Green and at Western. Where are the wins?
Ohio does have Kentucky the week before.
That's fair.
If they get physically beat up, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know what you got. What do you guys have about? I mean, I have them winning 2.
I have them winning. I'm on the under. I have them winning. Obviously, I have them winning Colgate, and I'm pretty sure I only have them beating Kent State.
I have them beating Buffalo.
The 2 buys is nice, but maybe they could squeak by because Eastern Michigan's going to be a weird team this year. So they get the bye going into Eastern and then the bye at NIU. But I can't see it. I can't envision it.
2 wins, man. That's what I got. I got 2 wins. I think I'm going to be Buffalo. I think Buffalo's going to be a hot mess this year. I mean, maybe Ohio if Ohio gets beat up by Kentucky, but I don't see them going to Western to win. I don't see them going to NIU to win. And Toledo's an interesting case. We'll get to them a little bit later. How motivated will they be that last game of the year? Maybe they can sneak that one through.
I'd say best case scenario, absolute top is 4.
Yeah.
And that's like super over exceeding.
That's like your son's playing on the team, Jim, and you're trying to predict who's going to win.
Yeah. What are you feeling,
right.
Chase?
I think that this is a don't touch here, because I am of the mind that if I'm going to play any sort of like conference future or any sort of like win total futures, I better be getting plus money. I'm not going to tie up my portion of my bankroll unless I'm getting plus money back. So I don't want to touch any of this, but I do lean probably towards the under with the win over Colgate, and then I'm not sure where 3 more wins come from on the schedule. So I'm leaning to the under 3.5, but at -120, I don't want to touch it at all.
I am touching it. I'm taking the under at -120. Baby!
That's why you're the baller, dude.
Up next, we have the ball.
So I have them with 2 wins.
I got them with 2.
Chase, you have them with 2 as well?
Yeah, I'll say 2.
So we all have them at 2 and 10 then, right?
I gave them a generous 3.
Okay.
I gave them Buffalo and Kent State when I wrote them down. But that's being generous still.
All right. I'm going to track this. So Jim, Chase, myself. Jim has 3 and 9. Chase and I both have 2 and 10.
I'll be a generous 3 for them because I want to root for them.
Jim, I really feel that this is going to be your team in the new college football game.
No, Eric, I already have a team picked out. Akron is one that I like, but it's usually one of my friends always played Akron. Chase already knows my team's Hawaii. Like my team's Hawaii. Up next,
yeah, that's true.
We have the Ball State Cardinals win total set at exactly 4, -115 both ways, plus 3,500 to win the MAC. Boys, Ball State, interesting one.
It is kind of interesting. They have a really interesting game to lead it off too with Missouri State. That's not a bad football program by any means.
No, it's not.
That where Petrino went to for a little bit?
Yeah, that's where he was before he was at Texas A&M.
Yeah. It's their schedule isn't like insane. The issue I have for this Ball State team is I have so many damn questions. Like
I have a lot of questions too.
I looked back last year. I was on them last year. I liked Ball State last year. They were one of I was on them and I was on Miami. And I expect them to take a step back. And I don't think they'll be able to compensate for the losses that they've suffered.
I mean, so Kelly was their quarterback last year. Went 3 and 3. He entered the portal, got no bites, came back, and now he's switching positions. Now he's going to be a DB. The running game, their top 3 is gone. Offensive line is experienced, though. Should be able to get some running lanes. I'm not high on either back that they have coming in, though, because they lost their top 3 rushers. All their wide receivers have speed and can win battles, but can they get them the ball? You know what I mean? Is this quarterback Semoza going to be able to get the ball? He's unproven. And, last year, Ball State elected to go with a running quarterback instead of him. Now you have a true pocket passer. How is that offense going to look? Linebackers, they're only returning 1. Back 4, they're losing everybody. And their starting quarterback is going to be a starter. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with me saying that?
Dude, there's so many questions, right? There's so much shit up in the air with Ball State that we just don't know. I have no idea. This team could maybe win 6, but I could see them just as easily winning like 2 or 3.
I mean, they were one of the top teams in the country last year against the run, but they're losing so much in the front 7.
A ton.
I think they're going to struggle to replace that.
With them bringing back 8 on offense as opposed to 3 on defense, it makes me think that they're going to be in a lot of high-scoring games. But the good thing is that they have so much of the of their offense coming back, and that maybe they can put it together and start, and kind of keep up with the scoring. I don't know. I think they're kind of an interesting little play for the over on their win total.
They're an interesting one. The issue with their offense is bringing a lot back. They were ranked 122nd in scoring last year.
No, that's fair.
But maybe with the quarterback change, it'll again, that's another question mark I have for them. Does the quarterback change boost them up to that level where they can maybe crack the 90s or whatever? Because none of these MAC schools, most of these MAC schools aren't going to be fantastic. But if they can crack the 90s, they're going to be one of the top teams again. And when I think Ball State, I always just think middle of the road MAC. So I don't know. Again, I just don't know with this team.
When your quarterback comes back and switches positions and your backup quarterback's going to be the new starter, to me, that's a red flag. It's kind of like a girl whose last name ends in I. It's a red flag.
I was thinking real quick. I was thinking. You guys ready to go through this schedule and just see what we the feel, the vibes?
Yeah.
Chase already mentioned it, but they start with Missouri State. Not a terrible FCS school.
I gave them a win here.
Not at all.
I gave them a win too. And then
I'm going to give them a win too.
Then they go to Miami, Florida, and then to Central Michigan and to James Madison back to back to back. That's such a rough stretch.
I'm going to give them the win at James Madison. You know what? It's not the same JMU team that we've been dealing with the last couple of years. Everyone left for Indiana for JMU. So I'm going to give them a sneaky win here.
Okay. Respect it, Chase. I have them going over.
I have them losing everything.
And then Western Michigan at home, at Kent State, at Vandy, NIU for homecoming before the bye week.
And important to note, Kent State is going to be coming off a bye.
It's still Kent State, though. It's still Kent State.
When do you guys have win number 2?
I haven't beaten Kent State.
I've got win number 3 at Vanderbilt.
Oh,
that just feels like a Vanderbilt spot.
Baby. I like it, Chase. I like it.
I have win number 2. I have NIU beating Toledo and then losing to Ball State.
I could see it.
Just kind of the letdown NIU type spot. So I don't have win 2 until Northern Illinois.
Do you have them losing to Missouri? Oh, yeah, to Northern. Okay. And then
I
after
have
the
them
bye,
winning that. Then I have them running the table with losses to NIU.
And then after the bye, it's Miami of Ohio, at Buffalo, Bowling Green, at Ohio. You got them losing all those, Eric? Do you have them beating Buffalo?
I'm losing all those, dude. I'm winning 2 games this year.
I got them beating Buffalo and at Ohio. So I've got them at 5 and on the over.
I've got them at 1 of Bowling Green or Ohio at the end of the year, getting one of those end of the season MAC upsets.
Okay.
So I got them at 3. I'm on the under. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
You have them at 3 and 9.
Yeah.
I have them at 2 and 10. Chase 5 and 7, correct?
Yep.
And Jim both 3 and 9.
Yep.
All right.
And what do you have the price at for the over, Jim? I'm seeing it plus 135.
For a 4 or for what?
For Ball State for over 4.5.
So I have just the 4. It's minus 115. I like take yours. Take the plus money. Take that 4.
Yeah, I actually am going to play that one. Yeah.
I at least have the 4 to still push. I can push my bad boy. Up next, the Bowling Green Falcons. Win total is set at 6.5, plus 110 on the over, minus 145 on the under. They are plus 650 to win the MAC this year. Boys. I feel like Bowling Green, where they were, say, like 5-6 years ago to now, that's crazy.
Yeah. But they're one of those teams you start about. They really don't know who their starting quarterback is. And it's July 3rd right now.
It's Bazelak, Eric. It's going to be Bazelak or Balzac.
You mean, are we going to forget his 3 INTs and 3 straight passes last year?
Nope. But it's going to be okay.
I mean, they got Terrion Stewart back, who's in line for a great season. But is he going to be able to stay healthy? You know, they're losing their top wide receivers. They did add to Johnson from Auburn and Garcia from K-State, which is an upgrade in talent. But do we trust whoever the quarterback is to get them the ball? And again, if this comment, if you guys are from Bowling Green or went to Bowling Green, I don't mean this comment to be a dick. But if you're transferring to Bowling Green, are you really that talented?
The other question is with these, like the MAC, if you're transferring to schools, do you have to be that talented?
That's
to make a difference in this conference?
I mean, I think yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how talented are you? But is the talent in this conference just so down that you are going to be able to make an issue? O-line is going to be one of the best in recent memory. They're going to be able to set up some running lanes to give Stewart what he needs to run, but can he stay healthy? And then linebackers are going to struggle. Weakness of the unit, back 4 is basically returning the same. So if they can cover the middle of the field, figure out the quarterback position, I think because of Stewart, this is going to be a team that could be interesting.
For Bowling Green, to me, it all comes down to the quarterback. I trust the transfers that they're bringing in to make a good difference. But like Eric said, if the quarterback isn't clicking, this team isn't winning. I'm gonna put some faith into it. I'm gonna believe if they don't get deteriorated and defeated early mentally, I like them. I like this team. I'm on Bowling Green. They have good guys coming back on both offense and defense. I love the defensive front.
What was your over-under? I'm sorry?
It was 6.5, plus 110 on the over, minus 145 on the under. And I'm going to, spoiler alert, I'm going to blow past that. I have a little sprinkle on them to maybe win the MAC. Yeah, at plus 650, little sprinkle.
Oh, Jimbo, a little sexy out here, man.
A little sprinkle. They're one of my 2 teams. I'm on 2 teams in the MAC this year. Bowling Green is one of them. I'm gonna take the gamble on the quarterback.
This is a tough schedule for them.
It is.
This is a really tough schedule. I think that at 6.5, the play might be the under. But at the same time, that under is minus 140, which I'm seeing. So it's another don't touch unless you want to have your money tied up in a minus 140 for 4 months. Yeah, I mean, they have to go to Penn State. They have to go to Texas A&M. Old Dominion, that's not a walkover by any means. You have NIU on the schedule. You've got Western Mich, Central Mich, Miami of Ohio. It's tough. I think they hit right at that 6 number, but we can kind of go through everything.
Don't Chase. If you're don't forget about Fordham. Fordham's not a bad Patriot. They're not a bad G5 school. I mean FCS school.
And Chase makes a good point about ODU. They've gotten a lot better. They're going to be decent this year, and they're coming off a bye. You know what I mean? So this isn't going to be like a flat spot for ODU coming in. That's going to be a tough game. And then the 2 favorites to win them, They play them both. They play Toledo and Miami of Ohio and NIU and Western Michigan. This is a tough-ass schedule. That's a good point, Chase.
It is. So let's go through it. Yeah, they got Fordham and then at Penn State at Texas A&M. I have them beating Fordham. Obviously, I think we all have them losing to Penn State and Texas A&M.
I have them losing to ODU too.
Yeah, ODU right after.
Same here. Same here.
I have them beating ODU for the homecoming game. And then at Akron, NIU, Kent State, and at Toledo.
I have them beating. Oh,
did we lose Erik for a second?
Might have. I'll say I've got them. They beat Fordham, then a 3-game losing streak until they get the net crack game with Akron. After that, NIU, that's a toss up. That's a real toss up. This is one of those things where like I feel like they've got 6 games, they've got bowl eligibility in them. I'm just not sure exactly where they get all 6.
They're kind of in the spot that a lot of these MAC teams are in, where you could find like maybe 1 or 2 wins, and then there's obviously the definite losses, and then it's like almost 6 or 7 of games of the schedule are toss-ups, which is bananas. I have them. I actually wrote down. Okay, let's read this from NASCAR. According to my research,
hold on.
I'm reading this. Pause. According to my research, about 2,500,000. Sorry, is that 2 billion? Yeah, 2,546,235,671 Oreos have been eaten in the past month. Eating this many Oreos will bring you to much needed wealth and a bunch of IQ. Better than the smartest person alive, go get your nearest Oreo king and ask him for the amount of Oreos with the precise number. But if you want a special deal, ask for 5,000,000,001 Oreos and you'll be the richest and smartest person in the world. Only 0.13847563205737% of people got this in the last few decades. Quoted, not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Interesting facts you bring out there. Yeah, I don't know where maybe. Because like NIU and Western Mich, like what, they're 3rd and 4th choice for to win the conference, and those are just complete toss-up games that could go either way, I think.
Yeah, Bowling Green's right up there with them on the futures, though. They're like, so they're in this group where like all these teams are like 6.5 win totals. And that's for a reason. They're all kind of like, there's not much separating them. There's not much separating like Bowling Green. Like it's probably the quarterback play or it's the defensive middle of the field that makes it so this team doesn't get to this total. I had so many games that are just question marks that it's tough to go for it. I'm going to believe in the quarterback they end up with. I'm going to believe in the defensive front. I'm going to believe in the transfers. I'm going to say Bowling Green actually does better than NIU. And I'm not as high on I'm like decently high on Western Michigan. I'm not as high on Western Michigan as you and Erik. I'm putting my faith in Bowling Green. I'm putting my faith. I never thought I'd say this, Chase. If you saw me 4 years ago, slap me in the face. I'm putting my faith in Scott Loeffler. Yeah, Loeffler. I am putting my faith in Scott Loeffler. God dang it. Do we want to just keep going? Keep pounding away until Erik comes back?
Yeah, let's go.
We'll catch him up to speed when he gets back. Up next, Chase, the Buffalo Bulls. The win total for the Bulls is set at 5. By the way, I'm on the over for Bowling Green, just so everyone's aware. The Buffalo Bulls win total is set at 5.5. The under is -140. The over is +110. The Bulls are +3,000 to win the MAC. I wrote my first line on the Bulls for my notes is like 17 question marks because I just don't know about this team. Yeah, they're probably improved from last year. I don't know how much that really matters. I still think they're a mess. I still think they're in the throes of recovering from landslide. I don't know. I don't love this team.
Looking at it, and I'm going to go through Uncle Rico's stats that he provided for us here. They're returning 30. They've got 3. They're only returning 3 on offense, but they are returning 7 on defense. If you look at their schedule, they actually, I don't know. I think this is one of the more favorable schedules, especially when it comes to non-conference here, because they've only got one like super tough team. The rest are teams that have been on the auto fade list for a couple years. Mm-hmm. I think that you might get a surprise at Buffalo. I wasn't on this one earlier, but now when I take a deeper dive, I kind of like Buffalo, a bowl eligible Buffalo to maybe hit their over 5.5 here.
Ooh, I like where Chase is headed. Eric!
Dude, all I can say is fuck Comcast, but go ahead.
We're on to Buffalo.
All right. Well, let me update our notes. What did you guys have Bowling Green at?
Oh, Chase, yeah, the exact win total for Bowling Green.
What did you guys have it at?
Yeah, I had them at, I want to say 5 wins. No, sorry, no, I had them at 6. I had them at 6, the hook shy of hitting their total.
You had them 6-6. Jim, what'd you have?
7-5. Wait. 8-4. 8-4.
Oh shit, dude.
8-4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have them at 6-6 as well.
But Chase, like you were saying about Buffalo, they're gonna like, I am fully on them pounding the ball, running it, and relying on defense. I think their defense. The issue is, I don't know how good this defense is gonna be. I don't know if I believe.
Jake Shields transferring in from ODU. Not sure if he's good or bad because he was really limited last year with his playing time. Running game last year, they didn't have one running back to go over 100 yards. A little bit of a disappointment when you think about traditional Buffalo football. They're losing their top 2 back, and the 2 they have starting, I think, are going to be worse than last year. I think if it's possible, they're going to take a step backwards. Receiving game, they usually lose everybody. They lost everybody, but their O-line is going to be better. So if their O-line is able to create some lanes and Shields is somewhat decent, because it's the MAC, they could have, you know what I mean? They could have a little bit of run.
I think their run game is going to improve this year. I think it will.
They're back early on the season. I think you're going to be able to run on them just because their defensive line isn't going to be as good as in years past. Back 7 is going to be the strength of the team. But are they going to be able to hold up because the front 4 can't stop the run and can't get to the quarterback? That's kind of like the big question.
I told Chase earlier, Chase, it's a lot of questions with Buffalo. I wrote like a bunch of question marks on here. I don't know. I'm going to go with not believing right now. Let's go through the schedule. Lafayette at Missouri, then UMass to start the season. I did give them 2 wins kind of out the gate.
I did too. With the loss being at Missouri.
Yep. It'd be sick if they upset Missouri.
I have them not winning a game.
0-3 to start. Lafayette is pretty good. Lafayette's like, they're sneaky.
I have them, yeah.
And then it's at NIU, at UConn, back-to-back, going into the bye week. I have them losing both those games.
I don't have them getting a win until Toledo.
So right out of the bye week?
Yeah, right after the bye. That's my first win for them.
I had them coming out of the bye and losing to Toledo still. Basically, after UMass, I don't have them getting a win until Eastern Michigan. Oh, let's make some money. Wanted to see the Oreo comment again. I'll put it up there for you. Right here, buddy. I only have them beating... Yeah, this is what you missed, Eric. I only have them beating Lafayette, UMass, Eastern Michigan, and Kent State. I got them at 4 wins.
I have them at 3.
Where are we sitting with Buffalo, Chase?
Let me see. I've got Buffalo sitting at, I think, 5.
That's still on the under, though.
What's their over/under?
That
Five
is
and
still
a
on
half.
the under.
5.5 plus 110 on the over,
5.5.
minus 140 on the under.
So Chase has 5 and 7. Jimbo, what'd you have?
I have them at 3 wins. Sorry, 4 wins. 4 and 8. I forgot to see UMass. I got them at 4 and 8. Eric, you have them at 3 and 9.
Correct.
I'm going to be betting the under. I get it's minus 140. I'm still betting it. Come at me, you cowards. You boys ready to move on to the next team?
America's team right here.
America's team, the Central Michigan Chippewas. Win total set at 5.5, plus 110 on the under, minus 140 on the over. They are plus 1,600 to win the MAC this year. This is America's team.
All right. They're adding from Iowa, Labas, who is going to be an upgrade over Bauer, who transferred to Sam Houston State. They also have Emmanuel for the running downs at the quarterback position. So I think overall the quarterback is going to be good because the wide receiver room is absolutely loaded. They have 2 transfers from Power Fives, and they have their top 3 coming back. Offensive line is going to be the best it's been in recent years. We need to remember when this team had its hiccup, they had 2 NFL starting offensive linemen in the MAC conference. And then they lost those guys, and then they took a step back. They are going to be better this year up front, protecting the quarterback. That's going to set up the run. Defensive line is bigger than it's been in previous years. These are some big boys up there. They have multiple guys over 3 bills. But they don't really have that pass rusher that can get to the quarterback, get him off his point. Back 7 returns a ton. Experience. My issue with them is I think they're going to struggle to create pressure.
Again, like so many of these teams, it all comes down to what are they doing at quarterback for me. They have so many weapons to go from. I think both their offensive and defensive lines are going to be improved. I think their defense overall is going to be improved enough to keep them in games. I love this Chippewas team. They're extremely exciting with what they're bringing back. I'm super hype. I'm also just going to say, yeah, it's minus 140. Guess what? I'm already going to say I'm on the over. They're my other team. They're my other team. I am on Central Michigan to win the MAC at plus 1,600.
I've got them on the over 2 at over 5.5, and it's pretty juiced up. I mean, it's minus 150. So once again, one that I'm not touching. But if you look at the schedule and how the schedule is created, if you look at the non-conference games, I think this is a team that has a chance to. I've got them sitting at 7, but I think that they could run off 8-9 wins, and don't think that Illinois isn't upsettable in week 3.
I was going to mention, if I can find an alternative total of like 7.5 at plus money, I might take that for this Chippewas. I am all in on Central Michigan. They're the ones I'm riding with this year. I'm riding with the Chippewas all day. Let's get to this schedule, boys. Is that Central Connecticut or what is that CCSU?
Central Connecticut.
I think it's Central Connecticut.
Central Connecticut State University, the real Blue Devils, at Florida International, at Illinois to start the season.
All right. So I have them losing 1 game here. And you'll never guess who is it against.
Is it Illinois? Or is it Ball State?
It's FIU.
Oh, the at FIU situation.
I'm just telling you guys, FIU is going to be a lot better than people realize. That game is going to be played in the goddamn heat. You're going down from Mount Pleasant, Michigan to play in that Florida heat against a team that's going to arguably have the best offensive line in Conference USA that has their all-conference running back coming back. And you have questions up front, second game of the year. I have that as a loss. But I do agree with Chase. I have them going to Illinois, and I have them beating Illinois.
I have them getting one or the other of those games. I could totally see them beating Illinois.
I think they go 4 or 5 in this stretch because I think they could even get the best of San Diego State at home.
I got them beating San Diego State before the bye week.
And I mean, the main thing with San Diego State, new coach, new system, traveling out east, earlier start time, going to be a little bit colder. How is that going to affect them? I totally agree. I have them beating San Diego State.
And then off the bye week, it's Ohio for homecoming, and then at Eastern Michigan and at Miami of Ohio.
Ohio's coming off a bye as well. I have them winning against Ohio and at EMU, but then I have them going on a little bit of a string of losses here.
I have them falling to Miami. I have them beating both Ohio and EMU. And then off the bye week, it's Bowling Green, at Toledo, Western Michigan, and then at Northern Illinois to close out the season.
I mean, I have them losing. I have them going on a 3-game losing streak to Miami, Bowling Green, and Toledo, then finishing off beating Western and NIU.
After the bye week, I only have them losing to Toledo. That's it. I have them beating Bowling Green, beating Western Michigan, beating NIU. The only losses I have on this schedule are one of FIU and Illinois, one of those two teams, and then Miami of Ohio and Toledo.
So you have them at 9-3 or 10-2?
I got them at 9-3.
I mean, I have them at 8-4, so we're not too far off. Chase, what are you working with?
8-4 also. I think they it gets really difficult down the stretch for them. Like after that second bye, that's when it gets really, really difficult. So I'm kind of with Uncle Rico. I can see them trailing off at the end of the season. If they don't trail off, then you could easily have a 9-10 win season.
I feel like they're gonna be in the mix for the MAC championship, and it's 16-1. Give it to me.
I mean, that is a great price.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't argue with that. That's a great price.
I absolutely.
I'm adding it right now. In fact,
I love it. Like, and Chase, for you and me, a directional mish. It gives us a legit directional mish to root for, which is always beautiful. Speaking of which, up next, Eastern Michigan Eagles, baby. Win total is set at 4.5. The under is plus 105. The over is minus 135. They are plus 3,000 to win the MAC. My first takeaway is, as much as I want to say that they're going to take a step back and not look as good, I can't not trust Chris Creighton and what he's done at this school to get them to 6 wins. I can't. I'm just going to say I'm betting the over. I'm just going to blindly do it.
Just blindly
I
do it?
trust the man. This man has given me nothing to not trust him. I trust what he does. I trust Eastern Michigan. I trust the process.
I mean, they have Snyder coming in from Buffalo, and their whole season to me comes down which Snyder we're going to get. Are we going to get 2022 Snyder or 2023 Snyder? If we get 2022, this team could do something. But if we get the Snyder we saw from last year, this team is going to be a little bit of a train wreck. They lost their leading rusher in Evans. They are losing Canoe, who was their top receiver, and their chain mover. And we talk about all the time, you need to have in college football that dependable guy who's going to get the first down. They don't have that guy. And you have a transfer coming in. Who is he going to be able to trust? They only have 2 starters back on the offensive line. This offensive line only has 28 career starts. They could struggle a lot. Defensively, they are going to be good against the rush as they have Price and Jefferson back up front, but they lose everybody in the linebacker room, and their DBs are going to be insanely young. So if their front line isn't able to produce, this defense can get scored on, and you have a lot of questions marks up front. This is a team. If you told me this team went 8-4, it wouldn't surprise me. If you told me they went, 3-9, it wouldn't surprise me. I think this is a team that has the biggest difference between their ceiling and floor.
I would agree 100% with that. And you brought up a bunch of great points of why I think they probably will take a step back, but I trust Chris Creighton. I stand by that. Sorry, Chase.
I think when we look at the composition of the schedule and everything, they're kind of done a disservice because you have your bye week, but then you go into the favorite to win the conference with Miami of Ohio right off the bye. You have your bye, and then you have to go on the road to Ohio to the other Ohio school. I think that this is I think their non-conference schedule might be a little bit tougher. The UMass game could be a toss-up. I think they probably thought Jacksonville State was going to be an easy game, and I don't think that it's going to be at all. I don't know. I've got them sitting at like 5 wins here, but we'll go through it.
Yep. So they at UMass, at Washington, Jacksonville State, St. Francis, and then at Kent State before their first bye week. The UMass one is the weird one for me.
I think they can beat UMass. Obviously, they're going to lose to Wash U. Jack State lost a lot, but Rich Rog is a crafty dude.
I trust Jack State right now.
For me, if this game was played at the end of the year, I think Jack State would roll them. Since it's home at EMU, I'll give EMU the advantage.
I gave EMU the win, but I'm like 40% confident in it. And obviously, I got them beating St. Francis, and I have them beating Kent State.
I mean, I've
got them beating. I'm going to have them beating UMass and then beating St. Francis. I think they only get 2 in that stretch.
And then in between the buys, you got Miami of Ohio at home, Central Michigan at home, at Akron, and then Toledo at home. That's a tough stretch. That is a very tough stretch.
I have them, being 4-1 going into the bye, their first bye. Then off of that bye, I have them going 1-3.
Yeah, I only have them beating Akron here.
Yeah, me too.
Tough.
I've got them sitting at 4-8. 4-8.
And then, yep, at last bye week, it's at Ohio, Buffalo at Western. Guess what?
I think I trust freaking Creighton, dude. I have them at 6 wins.
I have them beating Ohio and Buffalo.
I have them just being Buffalo. God, I have EMU at 6 wins.
I'm beating Buffalo also.
What do you have, Chase? 3-9? Is that what you said?
I think you said 4-8.
4-8.
I got him at 7-5.
I'll put that under.
Yeah.
Dude,
I guess I'm the only person who doesn't trust. You love Chris Creighton, so I'm not going to feel any sort of weird about my pick or anything.
So I listened to I read a bunch of reports of other MAC coaches talking about him, and they're all just like, no one does more with less than Chris Creighton. No one gets the most out of untalented players than Chris Creighton. I love this guy. Erik, I feel like he's your kind of coach, where he's just super hard. He creates EMU into an us versus the world scenario.
I mean, I like him. I mean, I have him at 6 wins, Jim.
Oh, I love it. I love this man.
I got Jesus Christ, dude. I got him at 6 goddamn wins.
I would run through a wall for Chris Creighton
at Mason Crosby Stadium.
That's right. That's what
that's right. Yeah.
Up next, it's the Kent State Golden Flashes. The win total for Kent State is set at 2.5. The over is -145. The under is +115. They are +25,000 to win the MAC.
Well, I mean, you mentioned at the beginning of this show, this is one of the teams that we don't know who the hell the goddamn quarterback is going to be. I think they're going to lean on the running game a lot. Wide receiver room, a lot of guys from the portal. Are they going to be able to be used properly when you don't know who the quarterback is? Offensive line is going to take a huge step backwards. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when we did this last year, this offensive line had 4 career starts.
Yeah, it was rough.
4 career starts. They're going to be a lot better. They got everybody back. Defensive line, they have their stud in the middle coming back. Secondary will be the strength of the defense. They added Branch from San Diego State, who's pretty good, who has the potential actually to play at the next level. But with that being said, why the hell did he choose Kent State? You know what I mean? I think this team on paper is better than last year's team, but when their schedule is just brutal as hell, man, when you look at the schedule.
It's real brutal. And Eric, why would he choose Kent State? Well, they call Kent, Ohio, the Miami of Ohio. Not even.
Oh my God! I mean, look how they start off.
So just before we even get to the schedule, I have one for sure. I have one win, and then every other like sort of win that I put up was a toss up. So it's at Pitt, St. Francis, at Tennessee, at Penn State, and then Eastern Michigan before the bye. That is brutal.
I have them beating St. Francis.
That is brutal.
They're gonna get like
same.
They're gonna be so beat up by the time they get to like actual conference play.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, they're gonna be so beat up against EMU. EMU is gonna be physical, and then you go into your bye,
and then it's Ball State at Bowling Green at Western after that.
I'm a little low on Ball State, so I have them winning this game. Schedule-wise, for how this plays out for Bowling Green, I think it's a little flat spot for Bowling Green if the week before they beat NIU and they have a road game at Toledo on deck, which I have in my schedule. So I actually have them losing that game to I actually have Kent State beating Bowling Green, but then I have them losing to Western. Then I have them losing to Miami, Ohio, and Ohio, beating Akron and losing to Buffalo.
So for the last stretch for Ohio, Akron, and Buffalo, I didn't even put like win or loss. I just put question marks because I have no idea with this team. Those are such coin flippy fucky games. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to lean in and say Kent State probably loses a bunch of these because they're still fully rebuilding after Sean Lewis just took everything in the kitchen sink when he left. I'm on the under. I have them winning 1, maybe 2 games.
Do you think Sean Lewis, though, is sitting back?
Sitting at 2.
And he's just like, I never should have left Kent State.
I think he'll be pretty good at San Diego State. I think he'll do a good job.
I
think he'll do a good job there.
Yeah,
you have him at 2 as well, Chase?
I'm gonna say, yeah, I got him at 2, and it could easily be 1. Like I only see 1 guaranteed win. This is the hardest schedule I think in the MAC thus far because if they've got every single MAC contender on the schedule, and then you have a gauntlet of 2 top 25 teams plus an ACC team. This team's gonna be beat the fuck up by week 5. I think it's a 2, maybe 1 win team.
Thank God for them. They missed Toledo, but still.
And they missed.
Yeah. And they play so like their toughest games. Their games against the toughest opponents are all on the road. Like it's at Bowling Green, it's at Western Michigan, at Miami. Brutal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I got them at 2 and 10.
You know, I got 4 and 8 just because there's some good situational spots like that Bowling Green, that Ball State.
So, but like, what's your confidence level on those, Eric?
What's my confidence level? There's only one team in this. There's only one team I have confidence in this conference, and we'll get to it.
That's the MAC, baby. That's what makes this conference the best. You never know what's going to happen.
So both you guys have them at 2 and 10. I have them 4 and 8.
Up next, baby, it's the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Win total is set at 8 on the dot, plus 100 on the over, minus 130 on the under. They are your favorite to win the MAC at plus 220.
And I mean, the biggest news is their quarterback, Gatter, is coming back. He hit the portal, didn't like what he got offered. It's coming back. You're going to have the best QB in the conference. Anytime you have the best QB in any conference, it is going to make you one of the favorites to win it. Downing's coming in for Purdue, and they have Kenny Tracy coming back. So their running game is going to be pretty good. Offensive line is only losing 1 starter, and both your tackles are back who started as freshmen last year. This is going to be the best offensive line in the MAC. Obviously the concern is the wide receivers. Who's their change mover? They're losing all their top guys. Who is going to be that guy that can get the first down? Who does Gapper trust in those big games toward the end of the first half, late in the game when you need that field goal? Who is he going to be throwing it to? Linebacker. Oh, we lost. Where'd Chase go?
He had to go, probably the bathroom or something. You're fine.
Tackles. How good is this linebacker room? I don't think it's going to be as bad as other people are saying. They did lose their All-American kicker. So in a close game, you lose that kicker. Is he going to be, able to make that kick? But the main stat that stood out to me is they were 8-1 in the MAC last year, but they only outgained their opponents by 10 yards.
There was a lot of close calls with them.
I think this team's intriguing. I have them winning a lot of games just because of Gabbert, but I don't have them winning the conference.
Shut up, my boy Bofa. So same thing, Eric. I came into this one, basically being like, no one repeats in the MAC. That was my go into it. Do you know the last time a team repeated as MAC champions?
CMU back in the day?
Nope. Northern Illinois in 2011 and 2012.
Respect.
That was the last team that did it. And then it was CMU back in 2006-07.
Oh, the Dan Lefevre errors. My boy Dan.
Yeah. But it just doesn't happen. I think Miami's going to be a good, maybe even great team. I could see them repeating, playing in the championship. I don't think they're going to win it. The defense will be good. Obviously, getting Gabbert back is huge. The thing is, they also did get some decent players taken in the transfer portal.
Yeah, but my thing is it's always tough because you don't know who the quarterback's going to have the relationship with.
Yeah.
You lose your kicker. You're 8-1, and you only outgained people by 10 yards.
Yep.
That's, you know what I mean? There could be some regression, but then again, you have the best quarterback in one of the weaker conferences. So, look, I have them at 8-4. I have them right up there with CMU.
What does it do to them when they lose their first 3 in a row? That's my question. Is what you have Northwestern, Cincinnati, and then Notre Dame. What happens when they lose those first 3
do
in
not
a row?
count them out against Northwestern.
I'm telling you this. Northwestern lost their offensive line coach. The guy they have bringing in is going to be changing schemes. He's not nowhere near the coach. And this young guy, basically that they had last year, all the assistant coaches are flipped out. And there's this whole new scheme coming in. I think Northwestern's really going to struggle next year, especially at the beginning of the year. I actually have them winning that game.
The only thing I would rather have with this team is I'd rather have their first bye week move to a different spot. So it's at Northwestern, bye.
You don't like that week 2 bye?
No, I hate that shit, dude. I hate that. I'd rather have it going into conference play. Every time.
I mean, I have them beating Northwestern. I have Cincy getting their revenge from last year. Then obviously I have them losing to Notre Dame.
I have them beating Northwestern, losing to Cincinnati, losing to Notre Dame, beating UMass. That's how I have them starting out.
Yep, I'm with you. Chase, what about you, my friend?
I've got them losing to Northwestern. I've got them losing to Cincinnati. I've got them losing to Notre Dame, beating UMass, and then losing to Toledo.
I have them going
I'm
1-4
to start off.
I have them going 1-1 in that Toledo Eastern Michigan back-to-back slate. I got them getting one of those games.
Yeah, I got them beating EMU.
And then I have them beating Ohio, and I think I had them beating Central. Let me double check.
I have them beating Central.
I have them beating Central as well. And then off that other bye week, it's
I
at
have them
Ball State.
6-3. I have them 6-3 going into the bye.
Nice.
What about you guys?
I got them finishing 6-6. I think that especially with their bye being so early that I think they're going to get roughed up and might I could see where they only beat UMass in that stretch. Quite honestly, I think they get roughed up, and I think giving them 6 wins is maybe a gift, but I don't know.
I got them at like 8-4, 7-5. So I'm gonna bet the under here. It is juiced to -130.
So what do you have? 8-4? You have 8-4 too?
I'll go 8-4. I'll be nice and give them 8-4. Shout out Sam.
What up, Sam?
I already said shout out my boy Bofa. Chase, you have them what at like 3 or 4 wins?
I have 6-6. I'm giving them 6-6.
You might see if you look for an alternate at like maybe 7.5 total to get some plus money on that under.
Right.
Alrighty, boys. Up next, the Northern Illinois Huskies. Win total is set at 6.5, -105 on the under, -125 on the over. They are +700 to win the MAC. Also, Eric, Sports Facts is wondering when you're going to start talking OK State.
Whenever we do baseball. Rocky Lombardi finally graduated. He's one of those guys that seems like he's been in
10. It's been 10 years.
Forever. They have Macon coming in from Pine Bluff, new QB, better arm than Lombardi, but let's be honest, that's not saying that much. Lombardi could not throw the ball at all. I'm actually a little shocked that Brown didn't hit the portal, but he's back. Could arguably be the top running back in the conference. They have playmakers on the outside, but I really don't trust this quarterback. If he is something, this could be a team that could win it all. They're just offensive line, 113 career starts, could be the best unit in the conference. Up front, it's just they have size and experience and defense. They could have the best back four in the conference. But I just have so much questions about this kid from Arkansas Pine Bluff that I'm a little hesitant.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions for the quarterback.
He was at UAPB. How good could he have been? I'm sorry, but I can tell you this right now, that Pine Bluff, Arkansas is not a hotbed of college football talent by any means.
I think, honestly, though, even with that, I think with this Northern Illinois team, I think if they lean on the run and their defense, they could still be in like a fairly decent spot. This was one of the tougher ones for me. I think I have to relook at my notes and see what I actually wrote down for the total. Off my head, though, I think I had them hovering right around 6. I think they could still very easily make a bowl game. Because I like the bedrock and the foundation they've built. They kind of had like an uptick last year. Unless we're still on this weird NIU thing of like 1 year they're good, the next year they're awful, and then they're good, then they're awful. Like they've been going like on this seesaw for a while.
Let's look at their last 3 games. Okay. Last 4 games. Western Michigan on the road, but Western Michigan's coming off a bye too. Then they play Akron. Then they're at Miami. Miami's
Central.
Last home game, and Miami has 3 home games in a row, and that's the 3rd. And then they go CMU, and that's CMU. CMU is their second bye late in the year. CMU's coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this guy, dude.
This is one of my dark horses to win the conference. So this win total is about to be real high. A lot higher than everyone else's, but I feel like,
I wanted to get there. I wanted to get there.
What'd you say, Jim?
So you're feeling it? You're feeling the NIU-ness of it?
Get low with it. Get loose with it. If you're a skinny girl, let Bruce hit it. Yeah, man, I'm with Bruce and NIU. I'll go ahead and say it right now. I got an 8-4 season for NIU.
So yeah, so from 2018. So 2018, they go. What was that? They get 8 wins. 2019, 5 wins. 2020, they went 0-6. 2021, they get 9 wins. And then last year, what'd they go? 22, they get 3 wins, and then last year they get 7 wins.
I have them at 5 and 7. I wanted to get behind this team so goddamn bad, but I cannot trust the quarterback they have coming in.
I got them at 6 and 6. I got them right on the line there. If I did anything, I feel I got them 6 and 6. I'm gonna bet the under here. There is a scenario very easily that I could see them hitting the over, but I'm gonna roll with the under for the Northern Illinois Huskies.
And Chase, I'm sorry, you said 8 and 4?
8 and 4.
All right. Next team, boys, is the Ohio Bobcats. Win total for Ohio is set at 6.5 over under. Sorry, the over is -115. The under also -115. They're plus 1,000 to win the MAC.
So I'm just gonna say this.
They lost the best quarterback in the league.
And they lost his backup.
It's rough.
So you have your third string quarterback going to be the starter. They lost their top 2 running backs and their top 6 wide receivers.
They lost so much, dude.
How are they going to be able to score the goddamn ball? Like, literally, how are they? Offensive line could be decent, but literally, like, I don't mean to be a dick, but how are they going to be able to move the goddamn ball?
I don't.
I would just, and then you look at the defense by car, bringing a bus. Hey guys, let's bring a bus.
Yeah. And they lost their defensive coordinator too.
Linebackers are inexperienced. The back 4 is going to be the strength of the defense, but the front 7 can't generate pressure. It's going to be tough. If I were to, tough team to get behind, dude. Real tough team to get behind.
It is. It's a real tough team. Their schedule isn't like the worst, but it's not good. Like, they don't have the easiest out of conference for sure. It's at Syracuse, South Alabama, Morgan State, at Kentucky before they start conference play.
In fairness, though, South Alabama did lose a ton.
They did lose a ton, but I still so did Ohio.
I do have them. I have them beating South Alabama and Morgan State.
I have them beating Akron and Morgan State going into the bye.
I'm the same too. 2 wins going into the bye. Akron and Morgan State.
Oh, I have 3. Look at me, dude.
Out of the bye, they got at Central, at Miami, and then Buffalo.
I have them beating Buffalo.
Give them the Buffalo win.
I give them 0-3 in that stretch. I actually have them going 0-3 in that stretch. After the next bye week, at Kent State, Eastern Michigan, at Toledo, Ball State. I gave them Kent State.
I think they get 1 out of that stretch.
Yeah. I think they get 1. So I have Buffalo Bulls at 3 wins.
I have them at 6 and 6.
Sorry, the Ohio Bobcats.
The Ohio Bobcats.
I have them at 3 wins.
What are you working with, dude?
I've got them at 4 and 8.
God, I got them at 6 and 6 somehow, and I hate it.
Are you gonna bet that? You're still. I will bet the under. Even -1.
Under 6.5, right?
Yeah, 6.5.
And what is it juiced at?
It's -115 both ways.
All right, so I'd bet the under. I'd definitely take that under.
I'm gonna bet that under. Also, I might do, if I could find an alternate, I would take under 5.5.
Oof.
I'd do it. Up next, boys, it's the second favorite team to win the conference, the Toledo Rockets. Win total is set at 8.5. Under is -130. The over is juiced to +100, +260 to win the conference. So they have the highest win total of any team, but they're second to win the conference.
I mean, the big thing is they lost Finn to Baylor. Gleason had a decent game in the bowl against Wyoming. He has experience, but he isn't the playmaker in terms of running that Finn was. They lost Boone. So their kick returner, Stewart, is going to be taking over. He's not going to be returning, so that hurts the return game. My worry point is the offensive line. They're pretty much losing everybody. They did add some transfers, but the transfers they added have 0 career starts. Are they going to be able to protect a quarterback that isn't able to run? Defensive line solid. They have Alexander, who's the best D lineman in the MAC. This is for you, Jim. He's going to be playing the UFL next year, my friend. In 2 years, he's going to be in there. Back 7, huge concern for me as they're losing Grant and Mitchell. I know they have Hook in safety, who's going to be in the NFL. But with the losses at linebacker and cornerback, it's going to be hard for this defense to be anywhere near what it was last year. They're bringing in 2 new coordinators. To me, I'm leaning heavily toward the under here of Toledo.
Yeah, same for me here. I was leaning towards the under. It's almost impossible for them not to take a step back from what they did last year with how much they're having to replace. It's not a bad schedule. It's not a bad schedule.
Plays out, I haven't won in 8 games. Literally, with how it plays out, I haven't won in 8. Just how
it's a very favorable schedule
line up.
But 8.5 is they're not getting 9. They're definitely not getting 10.
Yeah.
I've got them at 7.
I got them at 8.
I got
that's tough. I don't think that Western Kentucky is a guaranteed win by any means. You have to go to Mississippi State, which
I have them 2-2. I have them losing.
Mississippi State might not be great, but still.
State, WKU.
That's kind of where I haven't had them too. Was 2-2 going into there.
Yeah, I have them 2-2 going into the bye week as well. And then out of the bye week for Miami for homecoming at Buffalo, at NIU, Bowling Green at Eastern.
Boom, boom, boom.
I think I only have them beating Buffalo in that stretch. No, I have them beating Eastern as well.
I have them beating Miami, Bowling Green, Eastern, and I have them beating CMU as well, too.
And then it's just Ohio and Akron after that. It's Central, Ohio, and then Akron.
I mean, their schedule's good. Like I said, I have them at 8-4. I would definitely lean toward the under.
I'm with Chase. I got him at 7-5.
What's that juice to the under?
It's minus 130, Eric.
Yeah, that's too much juice, man. I'll just sit this one out.
You're not going to take a shot on the over at plus 100?
No. I only have them at 8. I don't fall into peer pressure, Jim. No means no.
Oh,
just say no.
I crack under peer pressure every day. You had him at 7-5, right, Chase?
Yeah, I did.
Awesome. Last team on the docket, boys. Western Michigan Broncos. Their win total is set at 6.5. The under is minus 135. The over is plus 105. They are plus 800 to win the MAC this year.
There's certain teams I fall in love with. And unfortunately, being from Mount Pleasant, where I have a fuck Western Michigan t-shirt somewhere in my closet, I like this Western Michigan team. They have Hayden Wolf, who became the starter midseason. He's back. They have no depth behind him. So obviously if he gets hurt, that's going to be an issue. They have phenomenal rushing attack. It's going to be a running back by committee. Wide receiving groups, they have 3 of their top 4 back, plus they added Power 5 transfers. So my worry is who's Wolf going to form the connection with? Who's going to be their number one? They do have a lot of talent. They have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in the conference, which is huge. You need to keep Wolf healthy. D-line's going to be sneaky good as they got massive talent upgrade in the portal, plus they're returning a ton. They brought in 4 transfers that are going to be huge in the defensive back 4. They have 3 starters coming back from last year. They added talent at positions that were already good. and they have the best offensive line. And in these lower conference, I really feel valuing the offensive line is the way to go. And I am really high on this team.
The consistency that they're rolling in with is such a huge benefit. I am also very high on this Western Michigan team. The issue I have is I look back last year, they were so inconsistent last year where you would feel like they would pull games out and dominate and then get blown out the very next week. So
McElwain.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Western Michigan, I like them. I think they're going to be good. I just can't get with them with how inconsistent they were last year. I can't get with them to win the conference, but I do like the over. I will say that.
Jim, don't be soft, dude. Don't be soft. Come on.
I already have my two teams, Eric. I already gave you my two teams.
I have over 6.5. I got this at plus 120, and I have them 10-1 to win it all. This is my team. I'm going to be watching a lot of Western Michigan football.
You should anyway. It's good football. It's entertaining.
Good brand.
Great brand.
I have them going
not bad.
I have them going 1-2 into the bye. I mean, I really think the big thing is, that Marshall game. Marshall's coming off playing Ohio State. They could be physically beat up, and they have App State next.
I'm also not super high on Marshall this year.
That's a huge situational spot.
Same.
I'm not high on Ball State. They have Akron, Buffalo, Kent State. I mean, they can to
sweep
start
that
the conference
easily.
They could sweep between the buys.
Potentially the 4 worst teams in the conference to start off their conference schedule. Then they play NIU off the bye, which I think they're going to win. They play at Bowling Green. Then they play at CMU. That's a rivalry game on the road. I think they'll lose that one. I think they'll beat EMU. I have this team going 9-3.
So on my sheet, I have
Me
them
too.
Going, I have them going 7-5. I was being very stringent. I had them losing to both Marshall and Ball State.
Oh, Jimmy.
No, and Central Michigan. But this is me being stingy. I still love the over because this was me trying to find losses with this team to poke holes in it. Western Michigan's going to be great. I'm going to stick with 7-5 though. I'm going to go with give me 7-5.
And I mean, I think the important thing we need to remember is when we look at the schedule, no Toledo, no Miami of Ohio.
Huge.
And they have the 4 worst teams in the conference. Kent State, Buffalo, Akron, and Ball State all on their schedule. This is a banger schedule for them.
It really is. It's amazing. Shout out the tick.
I could see them losing 2 and then winning 6, 7, maybe 8 straight afterwards. I've got them 9-3, and I think that this is my dark horse to win the league, win the conference.
Let's
go Broncos, dude.
I might add them. I might do a little trifecta here in the MAC. I don't know.
Well, dude, you realize if you do the trifecta that their quarterback Wolf is going to go out the first game of the year. They're going to roll up their inexperienced backup, and they're going to win 3 games.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do it.
So for the sake of Chase and I, why don't you just stay with
I'm going to stick with my 2. I'm going to stick with my 2. I'm going to stick with my 2. So, boys, what are your favorite bets for the MAC? I have my favorites. I'm not going to list off every bet because that's every game. But I love the Western Michigan over 6.5. I love the Kent State under 2.5. I think those are my favorites.
My Western 2 favorite totals.
Oh, sorry. And the Bowling Green over 6.5. Those are my 3 favorites.
My 2 favorite totals are going to be the Ball State over 4.5 plus 135, and then Kent State under 2.5 plus 125.
Let's rock with Kent State together, brother. What about you, Eric?
Kent State all year.
Western Michigan 10-1 to win it all. Western Michigan over 6.5.
Also, Bowling Green plus 650 to win the conference, and Central Michigan plus 1,600 to win the MAC. Boys, we're back. We're in it. We're feeling it. You got those juices. You got those college football juices flowing.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm excited about this year. I'm really looking forward to another, season with you guys. And, I'm looking forward to the Conference USA, another one of my little darlings. My UTEP is in Conference USA. It's not UTEP this year, but it's UTEP-S.
It's a shout out. It's Liberty. Eric's going to be all over Liberty.
That's my 10-unit whale play, Liberty. Yep.
I don't even know what they are off the top of my head. They got to be the overwhelming favorite. Any parting words for the MAC before we get out of here, boys?
No, I'm ready for some MAC.
Zip it up and zip it out.
God damn it, Chase. I love that. That's so good. Let's roll. It's MACTION. Let's celebrate it. Let's embrace MACTION this season. It's the only thing that's staying the same with college football no matter what. All right, boys, let's get out of here. Shout out Erik. Go follow Erik at ETOP21 Sports everywhere. Follow Chase at Of Oaklawn, Notorious OTB Podcast. All the links and whatnot are down below in the description. Give us a like. Give us a follow everywhere. We love you guys. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time for some more college